Hello, dear students. Very good morning. Welcome to lesson number 4 of our textbook, The Flamingo. The lesson is The Rat Trap. You please open the page number 32 of your textbook. Its author is Selma Lagerlof. Selma Lagerlof is a Swedish writer. She is born in 1858 and she lived up to 1940. She's a well-known short story writer and her short stories are translated into many languages all over the world. In her short stories, a universal theme, a universal content, or universal thought, or universal matter runs through all of them. A belief that the essential goodness in human being can be awakened through the understanding in love. It means that when you apply love and understanding, and it is not so difficult to get a goodness out of a human being, whether he is presently so hard, so stupid, but there is goodness in him, though in a dormant state. This story is set amidst the mines of Sweden. Rich in iron ore, which figure large in the history and legends of that country. The story is told somewhat in manner of a fairy tale. It means that this story is derived or it is set amidst the mines. Mine, mine is, as far it is literal meaning is concerned, it's a pit or excavation in the earth from which the mineral substances are taken, or it's an ore deposit where you can extract minerals and other very valuable things. As for this story is concerned, the mines are the minerals in the form of iron ore, and ore is a source from which a valuable matter is extracted. And the story is told somewhat in the manner of a fairy tale. Fairy tale is a story, it's written especially for children, where some fantastic things are involved, fantastic forces are other involved, and some beings are there, such as fairies, wizards, and goblins, some magical things, some beings which have some supernatural powers, which display or exercise some supernatural things, and these stories are called fairy tales. मैं इसका इंट्रोडक्शन आपको कुछ उर्दू में भी समझा दूं कि ये जो रैट ट्रैप है हमारी एक शॉर्ट स्टोरी है, इस रैट ट्रैप स्टोरी की ऑथर सेल्मा लेगलॉफ है. सेल्मा लेगलॉफ स्वीडन की रहने वाली है. ये एक स्वीडिश राइटर है. ये 1858 में पैदा हुई और 1940 में उसकी वफ़ात हुई. या दूसरे अल्फाज में कहेंगे कि ये 1940 तक ज़िंदा रही. और उसकी शॉर्ट स्टोरीज़ जो है ये बहुत सारी ज़ुबानों में दुनिया की मुख्तलिफ़ ज़बानों में इनको ट्रांसलेट किया गया है, और इसमें एक यूनिवर्सल थीम है, एक मुद्दा है, एक मकसद है जो इसका कंटेंट लिखा गया है। इसमें एक अपील है, एक मैसेज है। आ, वो मैसेज क्या है कि आप इंसान की अच्छाई को, चाहे वो प्रेजेंटली कितना ही बुरा क्यों न हो, कितनी बुराई ही नज़र क्यों न आ रही हो, लेकिन अगर इसमें इसको इसके साथ बड़े प्यार से और बड़े समझबूझ से इसके साथ काम किया जाए, उसे काम लिया जाए, तो आप उसमें जो अच्छाई है जो अभी जागी नहीं है, आप उसको उजागर कर सकते हैं। और ये स्टोरी जो है ये माइन्स में, जिसे कान हम कहते हैं, स्वीडन की, वहाँ से इसको तरतीब दिया गया है, या सेट किया गया है। ये कान वहाँ, ये इसमें आयरन ओर पाया जाता है, और वो ख़जाना होता है जहाँ मिनरल्स वगैरह या वैल्यूएबल किस्म के जो सोर्सेज हैं या मिनरल्स हैं, आप हासिल कर सकते हैं। Which figure in the history and legends of that country. The story is told somewhat in the manner of a fairy tale. इस कहानी को कुछ परियों की कहानी के अंदाज में लिखा गया है। वो परियों की कहानी आमतौर पर बच्चों के लिए लिखी जाती है, जिसमें बहुत सारी उन चीज़ों को उजागर किया जाता है, इन मखलूक को उजागर किया जाता है, जैसे वो परियां होती हैं, या वो ऐसे जादूगर होते हैं जिन जो कुछ माफूकुल फितरत जिन्हें कहते हैं, फितरत से हट कर जो काम अंजाम देते हैं, इन कहानियों को वहाँ तरतीब दिया जाता है, और बच्चे लोग इन कहानियों को बस पसंद करते हैं। As far the author is concerned, for your kind information, I would tell you that the writer is the first woman who has received Nobel Prize in English Literature. First woman, पहली औरत ये सलमा लेगलॉफ है जिसने नोबेल प्राइज़ हासिल किया है लिटरेचर में। ये पहली ऐसी खातून है। ये शायद उसने 1909 में उसे इस नोबेल प्राइज़ के अवार्ड से नवाजा गया है। Now note these words, expressions. I will read them for you. Keep body and soul together. Plods along the road. Impenetrable prison. Eased his way. Things have gone downhill. Hunger gleamed in his eyes. Unwanted joy. Nodded a hearty consent. Fallen in a line of thought. These are the expressions. I will not go straight away for the meanings. In fact, we will wait until we read the text, and these expressions are very much involved in the text. Utilize it in the text, and you will get their meanings when we reach on proper sentences or the proper lines. Now let's read the story. Once upon a time there was a man who went around selling small rat traps of fire. Now first, let's go understand the title. A rat trap. In fact, it's a compound word. Rat and trap. Rat is a kind of animal, you know, and trap is an instrument through which you can catch or imprison a rat, this animal. A trap is a device for taking game animals or it is something which one is caught and stopped. If you are not lacking the activities of something or some animal, you can catch him and imprison him. Now, the content, as for the rat trap is concerned, this rat trap, there is a universal theme. Is it? It is used as a metaphor, of the people living in the world. Means this world is a rat trap for the people. There are a lot of attractions, lot of baits in the form of multiple kinds of the luxuries are there, and you are fell attracted, and therefore you caught in the net of these luxuries, and finally uh, you have to meet your end. Once upon a time, there was a man who went around selling small rat traps of fire. Once upon a time, there was a time, a man was there, a fellow was there who was, what was his business? What work he was doing? He was selling small rat traps which were made of fire. यानी एक बंदा था, एक शख्स था जो रैट ट्रैप्स, यानी वो चूहों के फंदे जहाँ जिनमें चूहों को पकड़ा जाता है, वो बेच रहा था। लेकिन उसके उसके पास जो रैट ट्रैप्स थे वो तार के बने हुए थे, वायर के बने हुए थे। He made them help himself at odd moments from the material he got by packing in the stores or at the big farms. Now, who was manufacturing these right traps? The manufacturer of these right traps was the man himself. And where was he getting this material? Out of which he was manufacturing these right traps. In fact, he was a poor man, and he was getting the material by begging in the big stores or in the big farms. But even so, the business was not especially profitable. So he had to resort to both begging and the petty thievery to keep the body and the soul together. To keep the body and the soul together means to make his living somehow, to make his bread and butter. Resort means he was inclined to do something. Thievery, the act of thievery means an act by which act of stealing. You are stealing something. And when he was not able to make his living by making his traps only, he he adopts some unfair means. He adopt some different methods, though they were unfair, such as begging and thievery. Even so, his clothes were in rags, his cheeks were sunken, and hunger gleamed in his eyes. The writer tells us he was possessing three characteristics, three qualities. First, his clothes were in rags. Second, his cheeks were sunken. And third, her hunger gleamed in his eyes. Rags means his clothes were torn. His clothes were not neat and clean. They were giving a poor picture, or they are in a ragged condition. Second, his cheeks were sunken. Sunken means, the literal meaning of the sunken is it's a um, past participle of sink. But sunken, it's used here as an adjective. Sunken means submerged, a hollow, recessed. And hunger gleamed in his eyes. Gleam means there was a there was an image of hunger when somebody uh, examined his eyes, when somebody was watching his eyes, somebody encountered his eyes. There was a brief and faint appearance. It looks that the man was hungry. उर्दू में बता दूं, एक दफ़ा कहानी हमारी शुरू होती है कि एक दफ़ा का जिक्र है, किसी ज़माने में एक बंदा हुआ करता था, एक शख्स था। इसका काम था कि वो छोटे छोटे रैट ट्रैप्स को, जो तार से बने हुए थे, उनको बेचता था। मगर वो रैट ट्रैप्स बनाता कौन था? He made them himself at odd moments. वो अपने फुर्सत के वक्त उन्हें खुद बनाता था, खुद उसे बनाने की महारत थी। और मटेरियल कहाँ लाता था? फ्रॉम द मटेरियल ही गॉट बाय बैंकिंग इन द स्टोर्स और एट द बिग फॉर्म्स। वो इस मटेरियल को, जिसे वो बनाता था, क्या वो भीख मांगते बड़े बड़े स्टोर्स में वो जाया करता था, वहाँ भीख मांगता था उस मटेरियल के लिए, या वो बिग फॉर्म्स में वो खुद ही उसे उठाकर ले आता था। बट इवन सो मीन्स डिस्पाइट, हालांकि ये बिजनेस उसके लिए प्रॉफिटेबल नहीं थी। द बिजनेस वॉज नॉट स्पेशली प्रॉफिटेबल, नफ़ा बख्श उसके लिए नहीं थी। उसके सो ही हैड रिजॉर्ट बोथ बैगिंग एंड द पेटी थेवरी टू कीप बॉडी एंड सोल टुगेदर। कीप बॉडी एंड सोल टुगेदर मीन्स अपने आप को ज़िंदा रखने के लिए, अपने आप को ज़िंदा रखने के लिए वो क्या करता था? एक तो ये बैगिंग यानी भीख मांगता था, दूसरा वो कभी कभी चोरी भी करता था मजबूरी की हालत में। इवन सो हिज क्लोथ्स वर इन रैग्स। लेकिन राइटर इसकी 3 क्वालिटीज बता रहा है। नंबर 1 कि उसकी बॉडी वो हमेशा पुराने फटे कपड़ों में मलबूस हुआ करता था, रैग्स जिन्हें कहते हैं। हिज चीक्स वर सक्न। इसके चेहरे के गाल जो थे वो कुछ डूबे हुए थे, खोखले दिखाई दे रहे थे, उतरे हुए दिखाई दे रहे थे। एंड हंगर ग्लेम्ड इन हिज आइज। और जब कोई इसकी आंख से आंख मिलाता था तो इसकी आंखों में देखकर उसे महसूस हुआ करता था कि ये शख्स भूखा है, इसने कुछ खाया नहीं है, ये उसका जिस्म गुज़ा से खाली है। Thank you very much. This is enough for today. Wait for the next lecture. Thank you.